Good morning, Knicks Nation. Today is Monday, the 10th day of November, 2025. I hope you enjoyed your weekend, that it was safe, healthy, and enjoyable, and that the needs of you and your family in terms of food, shelter, clothing, as well as health are being met today. Blessings upon those that work in health, along with first responders all the time trying to save lives. Those also pick up garbage, keep our places clean, and make deliveries for our convenience. Double blessings on the men and women trying to help rescue, deliver, and recover teenagers and children victims of child molestation and pedophilia. People that are also trying to help those that are victims of prostitution, child prostitution, pornography, child pornography, human trafficking, and sex slavery. Double curses on the perpetrators, the profiteers, and the perverts that keep these industries going. Finally, double blessings on the homeless. More than 700,000 men, women, children, families, senior citizens, military veterans, homeless in the United States of America. Blessings upon them, for theirs is the kingdom. There was a basketball game last night at Madison Square Garden. The New York Knicks stomped on the Brooklyn Nets 134-98, and it wasn't even that close. Thing is that I wasn't really concerned with the Nets. This is the league, and yes, anybody could be anybody on any given night. But the Knicks have been really flexing since they got their full contingent back, and the more they get acclimated in Brown's system on both offensive and defensive end of the floor, they just been flexing. So they destroyed Minnesota about a week ago, and then they destroyed the Brooklyn last night. Minnesota's a good team, Brooklyn not so good, but same result. The scary thing is, I'm beginning to think that this type of production is sustainable. Now, we're going to know more, especially after this week, because the Knicks play Memphis tomorrow, and it's a back-to-back. They play Memphis tomorrow at the Garden, and then, of course, they have another, they part of their 7-game homestand. They play Orlando on Wednesday. Now, Orlando is not looking good record-wise right now, but you can't sleep on them. There's too much talent over there. So they're gonna figure it out eventually. But this week, they got Memphis, then Orlando, and then Miami, which we lost to Miami. We lost to Miami on October 26th, 115-107. And again, that was without Deuce, no Deuce in that game, no Mitch Rob, I think. So we were, a little short-handed with our heroes. Now, last night, since those two guys have been back, which really was the loss at Chicago on the 31st of October, the Knicks have been balling. They've been balling. And it seems like they get a little better each game. Now, one of the highlights to me, now I was watching this game, and of course, I'm big-time Deuce hive. Right, so I'm watching the Nets shade toward Deuce. He wasn't getting a lot of open looks. But what that did is it opened the door for Jordan Clarkson. Now, think about Jordan Clarkson. Look, thing about Jordan Clarkson is this. When we was kids, right, I'm older than a lot of y'all, but when I was a kid, okay, basketball, even now, but when I was a kid, especially when you're dealing with Dr. J, and all the Charlie Scott, all the guys in the ABA, Archie Clark from the NBA, Butterbean, Bob Love, when you're dealing with all of them type of guys back in the day, right? Walt Clyde Frazier, Earl of Pearl Monroe. Basketball in the neighborhood with the brothers was a form of artistic expression. We was never going to be pros. We always imagined we would be, and we wasn't bigger, stronger, faster. Every once in a while, they'd be somebody show up like that. But generally, it was a form of artistic expression. And when I say that, I mean we did not really practice the fundamentals of basketball. How to dribble with your fingertips, shoot the ball properly with your balance and all that. We had all kinds of things we would do, right? And when you're trying out for your school team, though, the coaches did not like that. They did not like those, what we consider expressing ourselves on the floor. They wanted you to play fundamental, basic basketball, okay? Which we all found boring. But the coaches would pick dudes on the team that was playing fundamental, basic basketball. So you started doing that in high school, junior high school, and you learn how to do that. And you have really two ways you're playing. There's a way you play on the street, And then there's the way you play when you're trying to make the team and play, in high school and everything with the fundamental basketball. Now, I say all that to say once in a while, you get a dude that has that street ball vibe to him, but he's so good. He makes the team and plays at a high level. Like when the Knicks, like Latrell Sprewell was like that. He had a street ball vibe to him. And so that made him enjoyable for a lot of us to watch, especially the brothers from the hood. You love watching Spree play because he had that street ball vibe, that street ball attitude, and he was a high level pro. Well, Jordan Clarkson got that too. I don't think he's as good as Sprewell was, but he's something else, and he got that street ball mentality when he balls, right? And so as he's getting more comfortable off the bench with the Knicks, he balling out. And now last night he was mad because he fouled out and he had 11 points, but he wanted more. He so he could get more, but most of his shots was near the basket, though he did hit. What he hit? He hit a 3-pointer, but most of his shots was getting in the paint. And the moves he uses, they street ball moves. He would be very comfortable at the Rucker. He'd be very comfortable. He'd be very comfortable West 4th Street. He'd be very comfortable in Harlem. Jordan Clarkson, So that I like watching him because of that. But the thing is, as I said, like, he's street ball, and in street ball, the defense isn't really all that. When we was playing in the street, when Deuce started putting up $5 a man or something like that, then you start getting some serious defense. But Jordan Clarkson is not there, the defense, but I mean, he's not no all-NBA defender, but he's playing a lot better defense than he ever played before right now because he wants to win this chip. So if you look at the bench production from it's Deuce, Shamet, Hart, and Clarkson. Whenever Mitch Rob starts, that's your bench right there. And then Yabusele got 10 minutes, but he was reduced again because that's the way it goes when Mitch Rob starts. So the four dudes though, Clarkson was -3, but then Josh, Shamet, and Deuce +18, +7, +8. And and Clarkson is -3. That's kind of how you're gonna flow. And it tells you, Clarkson's the weak defensive link right there. But look, he gets 11 points. He shoots 5 of 8, 62.5% from the field. So it's a work in progress. But thing is, the progress is rapid. It's coming quick. That's why I say this week is gonna be a good week of tests for the Knicks. You can't sneeze at Memphis. They ain't Brooklyn. Now, Memphis is having a rough year, both internally and externally, right? But don't sleep on them. This is the league, and they will kick your behind if you're not ready. Then you got Orlando, okay? Orlando is good. Paolo, Franz, Bain, they good, okay? So you got to play them. Then you end up with Miami, always the roughneck, led by the head roughneck, Eric Spoelstra. Always a bunch of roughnecks, tough dudes. They're going to come at you. So this is that week. I want to see how the Knicks play with these. And then right now, it's almost like there's too much. The Knicks got too many options. So you shading toward Deuce. Oh, okay, Clarkson going to go off. You shading toward Brunson. Oh, okay, Cat 28 and 12. He gonna go off. And if you don't put a body on Mitch Rob, he gonna end up like he did last night. 3 offensive rebounds, 8 total boards. They credit him with 2 blocks, but I personally seen 3. I saw him block 3 shots. So I don't know who's doing these stats, but they don't know what the hell they doing. Because Mitch had at least 3 blocks last night. But the intimidation. And if you don't watch him, he'll dominate the glass on you. So. And then, of course, we're not even talking about the road runner. We're not even talking about, OG, who had 19, 8 boards, 3 assists, and plus 32. So there's too many options. We got the 4 guys off the bench. We got Yabusele, and we got a unit, man. And here, Brunson had 19 points, 7 assists. He had 4 turnovers, but he was three-pointers, and that was like in the flow. That's the thing. When we first got Carmelo Anthony, nothing was in the flow. He was holding the ball and shooting the ball. And then under Tibbs, Jalen Brunson was sometimes holding the ball a long time, dribbling the air out of it and shooting the ball. He'd have to be reminded, please move that basketball, okay? Especially from Josh Hart. So then he would do it sometimes, but then go back into one-on-one. Well, now Brunson is continually flowing. And that opening up all of the ball movement. I have not seen this level of ball movement since Walt Clyde Frazier, Dave DeBusschere, Jerry Lucas, Bill Bradley, all of them cats. The ball movement, that was poetry in motion watching the Knicks play basketball back then. I thought that everybody played like that. But nah. And now this ball is flowing. Last night they had 31 assists. And it's typical. I mean, it's typical. And then when you add Wingstop, the defense they bring with Mitch Rock, this is something else, man. I'm telling you. So I want to see how they pull out this week. I'm not expecting them to dominate everybody like this. They won this game last night by 36 points, okay? But I'm not expecting them to dominate everybody like that. But, when it's almost like during the course of a game, we talk about getting easy baskets, right? That makes the game easier for everybody. The more easy baskets you get, either throwing the home run pass and getting an easy layup, or having Josh go coast to coast with a rebound, easy baskets, right? It helps you. Taking on cupcakes once in a while, like Brooklyn, and dominating them, it makes it easy. Because now, like last night, the fourth quarter was all like you had Yabusele, Daddier, Diawara, Kolick, Porty. That was the fourth quarter, pretty much, because the game was over. By the end of the third quarter, the game was over. In fact, at one point, I think the Knicks led by 40. It was ridiculous. So, game was over. So, you had all them cats in there. That is good because now your starters get rest. Last night, look here. Brunson played 29 minutes. McCall, 28 minutes. Mitch Rob, 17 minutes. Karl Anthony Towns, 28. OG, 27. It was almost like it was a warm-up. You know what I mean? The NBA is going to have a New York problem. I've been saying that. They're going to have a New York problem this year. There's no doubt. And I'm thinking, as tough as some of these cats are, like, the Villanova crew is tough. Deuce, tough. The more tougher your schedule going to get, the more tougher some of these cats going to be. And we ain't seen, look, I still think we got some upside with Gershon Yabusele. I think we got some upside with him. In terms of, I think he's going to get better. I think Clarkson's going to get better. Josh Hart last night, 21 minutes, 11 points, 7 boards, 2 assists. He's plus 18. It was almost pedestrian. So I want to see how they do this week. Next game tomorrow night against Memphis. It's going to be a good test. Jaren Jackson Jr. and John Morant, certifiable Knick killers. Both of them. Certifiable Knick killers. So, and Caldwell Pope has been, whatever team he's on, whether it was Denver, LA, whatever team Caldwell Pope is on, certifiable Knick killer. So, when I say Knick killer, what do I mean? I mean, they seem to have their career games against the Knicks. That's what I call a Knick killer. Somebody that'll be all right if he averaged 15 a game, all of a sudden against the Knicks, he's going to get 25. That's the Knick killers, okay? Or if they hardly play, all of a sudden they're going to hit 3 threes against the Knicks. That's Knick killers. And Caldwell Pope, certified Knick killer. Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant. John Morant is like Sprewell, like Jordan Clarkson, under the lights of Madison Square Garden. This cat is going to come to play. So we got to be ready. So it's going to be a good test. I'm looking forward to it, to see how the Knicks really play against, serious teams. I mean, we seen how they do, like I said, we saw what they did against the Nets. We saw what they did. Now, Minnesota was a good team, though. But they also destroyed the Wizards, as we saw that too. They destroyed the Wizards. They made quick work out of the Washington Wizards. So, this is something else, man. So, I mean, like I said, this... Anyway, I don't know what to say. It's kind of exciting. It's like, damn, I mean, shoot. They beat the Wizards by 17. Then they turn around and beat the Timberwolves by 23. Then they turn around and beat the daggone Nets by 36. Dang. Right now, the Knicks are, they are literally third in the East, right behind Pistons, who's balling, and then Cleveland, right? We're a half game away from Cleveland. We're a game and a half away from Detroit. So it ain't like nobody running away with this thing early, like last year Cleveland was. That ain't happening this year. But the Knicks differential is the top in the East and fourth in the whole league right now, 8.7. And you notice, like I said, I'm not expecting them to win all their games, right? But I really do think that that type of differential is sustainable. If you go through the season and you have a differential like that, you taking the East. You taking the East. Okay? You have a plus 8.7 differential. You beating everybody. Okay? You're gonna take the East. So we're going to see the next closest team is Miami at 6.1, right? And Miami's half a game behind us. So like I said, this is going to be an interesting week. I'm really going to be enjoying watching our Knicks play this week against Memphis, Orlando, and Miami. Going to see what it is. So, yeah. So, and already the bottom of the conference is panning. Like, I'm surprised. Like, Indiana, all of them injuries are catching up. They 1-9. Wizards 1-9, Brooklyn 1-9, Charlotte, which we kind of expected, 3-6. Orlando, though, is surprised at 4-6. They ain't gonna stay where they at, right? They're 11th in the conference. Better believe they're gonna wake up. They too good. They too good. They're gonna wake up. So they're gonna wake up. I'm expecting the Pacers to come back in the second half of the year when all their injured dudes come back. They're gonna wake up. Philly is doing. Like I said, Philly's doing much better than I expected. And I don't know what to make. Atlanta, we all thought Atlanta could be a surprise. They still could. I never bought into Boston without Tatum. I don't care what they was telling you. Or if they thought they was going to win the series against us if Tatum didn't get hurt. We was beating their ass when Tatum got hurt. And we were going to beat their ass whether Tatum was there or not. Okay? But Tatum not being there, they ain't going nowhere. And then they lost Al Horford. They ain't got enough. So Boston gonna have it tough this year. But Atlanta, they may come back. Toronto, I believe in RJ, IQ, Podol, and of course Scotty Barnes. They could come back. Philly, if MB continue to let the game come to him and let them young guards do their thing, Philly could be tough. But I'm looking at all these teams. Ain't nobody the Knicks can't beat. Not in the East. Ain't nobody they can't beat. Ain't nobody they can't stomp on like they just did with last week, like they did last night. I'm not saying they're going to do it every night, but we ain't scared of nobody. Nuh-uh. East or West. We ain't scared of nobody. West is tougher, but hey, we play in the East. So, New York is New York. So, tomorrow night, going to be an interesting game. John Morant and them playing. Detroit is playing the second night of a back-to-back today, but Detroit has been balling. They have won 6 straight. That damn Cade Cunningham is the real deal. We kind of knew he was. When you get young boys like that come up, and your first couple of years, it's like you picking on the kid, and the kid's 11 and you 16, right? You taking his lunch money. But when that 11-year-old gets to be like 14 and he start growing into himself, you ain't taking his lunch money anymore. And then after that, he get bigger than you, he gonna take your lunch money. That's Cade Cunningham right now. Yeah. Rough, baby. Rough. That was SGA. You could see him coming. Cade last year gave him a taste of the big time. Detroit's going to be here at the end of this season. It's going to be us, Detroit. We got to play with them. Cleveland, we don't know. But, Cleveland's always in the mix, but they never can get past the hump. And then we're going to see who else shows up. So this is going to be fun. It's a fun year. The parity is really high, as it's been for the last several years. And parity creates really good basketball. So we're very fortunate. We should enjoy what we have, especially in New York, the way they balling. So y'all enjoy your Monday. Be safe out there. Let's keep getting these dubs. Let them pile up. Shalom.